Good morning, sunshines. New video on our mega updates for Pokemon Legends ZA, tying in with the leaks that have happened recently regarding all of the megas that we've got to learn about. So, folks, of course, this is a leak video, and we're going to showcase descriptions put into art forms for leaks of the megas. Okay, what do they look like? What do the megas look like? And they were actually leaked, their descriptions were leaked, and then put into an art form by various people in the community. These sources have been verified with previous leaks that have already happened, so we're getting all 26 megas here, basically in a visual representation of what's very likely to be similar to their actual designs. Turn away now if you don't want to see it, alright? And if you do, which most of you do, stick around, we're going to have a look. Now, all of this stuff was put together in a nice, handy, neat little package by Makio and J Roses on their Pokeus website, which we're going to look at here for the convenience, because they got all the best art, just that we can scroll right through very easily. And we're starting here with Mega Clefable. As you can tell, it's just got wings, became more fairy type with cream on top. It looks ridiculous. It looks awful. But the wings I like the wings, but the cream on top, I'm not sure. And the squared ears, this is based off of the leaked descriptions of these megas. So, generally speaking, the community is pretty good at putting these things together, and what we're actually going to get is likely to be quite similar. Obviously not exact, but quite similar to what we're going to see from most of these. So, first one here is this, Mega Clefable. Oh, by the way, I did say 26 megas, and maybe if you've been watching my previous videos, you heard me say 27. That is because the fan favorite Zero Aura Mega was in the pipeline. That was number 27. It was in the pipeline, however, it was cut. So the leaks we got actually expressed to us that that was there as a available mega coming in the game, but it was cut short. The leak was cut short in terms of telling us that it was actually cut out. So we're not sure if that's going to be something that's going to come later as an additional DLC sort of thing, or if it's just full on cut. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But guys, we have 26 megas here to look at here. So let's move on to the next one. What do you think of the Mega Clefable? Next up is the Victreebel. Alright, nice Mega Victreebel, looking like more like a sack with a rope around its neck, choking itself to death. It actually doesn't look too different to the usual Victreebel. However, the mouth gets smaller and wrapped up, while the body gets bigger. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Other than that, that seems to be just its design, pretty standard wise, not changing massively. It's just hung itself. That's really all it is. But Victreebel, Mega Victreebel is kind of cool. It's a kind of a cool Pokemon to have sometimes. And now we'll get a Mega, so it'll become more viable to use in combat. Let's move on. Next one here, Starmie, one of the ones that people really saw, and I hate the design of this. It gets legs. It starts walking about. Come on, man. Just give me another layer of star with a different bit of color scheme or something. That'd be fine. It could have been way cooler than this. It just gets an elongated body and starts walking around like it's Patrick Star. I don't like that at all. What do you think, guys? But that is its design. Based on the description, there's really only so many ways this could go. It's gonna look very similar to this. Oh God, what are they thinking in that office? But anyway, Mega Starmie could have been cooler. Moving on here, Dragonite, always definitely going to be cool. There's no way they could botch this one. It is clearly going to be getting a kind of a hybrid style from its previous evolution, because as you guys know, going from Dragonair to Dragonite is a gargantuan change, and going from Dragonite to Dragonite Mega, it's going to start adapting some of the things it had in its Dragonair phase. So I think that's a nice aspect. You can see the wing ears and the ball on its tail. And this is, generally speaking, what it may look like. So it's nice. I think it'd be cool. I think it's a good idea to go down that route, because I think it's kind of a loss to have lost a similar evolutionary line from Dragonair to the final stage. Becoming Dragonite was such a gigantic difference. Dragonair was beautiful anyway, so they should have kind of continued down that route, but we're going to go and return a little bit down that alley. Moving on here, Meganium, alright, stacked full of leaves, big plants all over the place, can't even see over the plants. I guess this is just the description we got, folks. Intriguing, what can I say? It becomes a little fluffier. And as people are speculating, it is going to be fairy type, by the way. Grass fairy. Alright, because in the trailer it showed the Pokemon itself with a fairy move that it does not learn. So it seems likely the Mega Evolution is going to be changing into a fairy type as its secondary. Not many of them are changing types. Let's just have a quick look back here. Mega Dragonite typing isn't actually here. Don't think it's changing type. Mega Starmie neither. Mega Victreebel no. And Mega Clefable is getting flying type. It's getting the flying type added on. Fairy flying, another fairy flying, which is already fairly strong and competitive, could be pretty bonkers, by the way. That could be pretty big. As for Grass Fairy, not bad, not bad. Definitely makes Meganium much more viable and a worthy choice for people when they go for Chikorita in the beginning of the game. It'd be pretty interesting to see how many people actually end up picking Chikorita because it's one of the lesser popular ones for some reason. I thought it would be more popular because of its cuteness, but it seems to be less popular than I'd imagine. Either way, having a fairy typing at the end in its mega form is going to make it much more attractive. Moving on. Feraligatr, the most popular choice, of course. It's getting a bit of a Dragadon, is that the name of the Pokemon? Kind of an overlook here. Becoming Water and Dragon, which is a nice pair, nice matchup here. Very cool. It does look cool if it gets that kind of mix. Feraligatr with the reddish head going on, become more dinosaur-like. I think it looks cool. This is the artwork that's based off its leaked descriptions, and I do think it's going to look similar to this. I think it looks cool as it is. So this is going to remain probably the single most popular choice for starters. Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be, and now it's continuing to be. As for Tepig, who's going to be picking that at this point? Let's find out. Moving on. Ooh, Skarmory. Mega Skarmory actually looks cool. If it changes from silver to gold, which seems to be the case, and becomes more of a dart-like bird, this is going to be sick. This looks really cool, actually. I think this will become I always liked Skarmory, honestly, in my showdown days, and now I'm going to like it even more. This looks really cool. So, what do you think? What do you think this is even supposed to be? It becomes much more sharper. It just becomes like a blade. Much more like a dart. Yeah. And it looks like it has a little bee tendril there going on. So, a stinger. So, I wonder. It doesn't seem to change its typing. So, remaining steel flying, I guess. We'll find out in the final game. Moving on. Oh, Froslass. Mega Froslass. Also not changing type, but becoming much more... what would I say? Elongated, a little more flowy, like a curtain. And got a little more Oni horns. I did see that in the description as well. So its horns get a little bit more of a refinement there. And other than that, honestly, it just becomes a little bit more elegant overall. What can I say? It's got its kimono on, and it's got its little, this is it's wearing a kimono, basically, okay? So it's very Japanese-esque. The Oni horns also tying into Japan lore and all of that. Froslass being the nice pairing because its other male evolution also already has a Mega, and now the female female evolution train is going to have its own one. So it kind of fits the bill. Moving on. Pignite's final evolution. Emboar Mega. Also staying fire fighting. As you can see here, it doesn't change, but it becomes a sort of a armored warrior, is based off the description, and gets this weapon here, as you can see. So, general vague representation. Honestly, I don't think this is the best art that could have been made for its final evolution, because I don't think it does its justice on the description that emphasized the armor aspect to it. I think it might look more armored. It might look more like it's wearing armor as separate pieces, which, as you guys know, in the Pokemon world is actually just a part of its body, which is weird. But the weapon part being in there, being added on just fine, and it getting a bit more emphasis on its flames and whatnot. But it doesn't really change its appearance all that much in this artwork. I think the end appearance in the actual game is going to be a lot more different to this. But you can just picture it being much more of an armored knight with this kind of a weapon. All right. So Mega Emboar, moving on. Mega Excadrill, one of the first we've gotten info about. Becoming stronger, bigger, more dangerous looking. It's got its shell and armor here, much bigger, and changing color, apparently. Becoming a gold. So it looks cool, looks alright. It doesn't look like it changes that much, and it doesn't change its typing either, which is fine, in fairness. Ground Steel is very strong, or can be, and it was definitely had its day in the Sandstream meta a long time ago. So maybe the Mega coming back will make it a much more viable Pokemon once again, and hopefully the final design will look really cool in the game. Moving on here. Oh my god, Scrafty changing color in a big way. It gets new clothes. It gets a good big makeover. Its arms sticking out of the front. Its clothes are actually ripped up as if it's been in a scrap, as you might imagine. But nice change, in fairness. So I guess the description is about it wearing new clothes. Other than that, it doesn't look like its actual physical appearance changes all that much. Maybe its tail is a bit bigger. I'm not 100% sure here. Its face looks very much the same, and it's just change position because the arms. It's just the artwork it allows it to change position, but what it's going to look like in its standard position in the game, don't know yet. Moving on, we do have Scolipede coming in, which was also one of the early megas that was leaked, and it looks like it changes in a big way. This was leaked with a picture of like a 6-legged horse with a reddish mane, which gave me the impression it was going to be one of Calyx's steeds that got a mega, but that seems unrealistic. It's Scolipede. It has been confirmed now by all the leakage, and this is what it looks like based off the art description. It looks badass. It definitely changes in a big way. It doesn't change its typing, but bug poison is pretty okay. It definitely has its usage, and it does look cool. Getting spikes and horns and whatnot, and armor, it appears, body armor and whatnot too, and it does keep its what might be 6 legs going on here as well, to attempt to tie in with that horse leak that we had. Scolipede, viable once again. Then moving on. Eelektross. All right, it changes, but I don't know if this artwork is. It doesn't feel coherent. The artwork. This might just be based off of the description. Gets an elongated like flaps that come off of its body. But other than that, the main aspect of the Pokemon's design doesn't really change all that much. Bigger teeth or mouth, and that's really it. Like, is that really going to be the final design? I mean, in the actual game, the official design. These are, of course, not official designs, as I said. But, oh my god, also just noticed electric type only. Oh my god. That'd be pretty strong, maybe, stab-wise, but as for its design, I really feel like this is one that we might have to wait and see. If it just looks kind of similar to this, it seems a little bit of an incoherent design to me that doesn't really fit Pokemon. It definitely feels much more like a Fakemon, this one in particular. We'll see. But, I mean, they can only go so far based off of the descriptions that they have, and it's very possible that the description doesn't make the Pokemon change all that much, which is possible for Megas. So we'll see what happens with this one. Moving on. Chandelure. Well, this thing obviously has its evolutionary stage from a candle to a chandelier. So what comes next after Chandelure? Bigger Chandelure. That's really all there is that it could be, and it does become a bigger Chandelure. That's really it. It's much more antique style. If you've ever been to like old hotels in Europe and whatnot, you're going to see chandeliers like this, in a sense, around the place and whatnot. So it is just become a bigger and cooler, older, antique chandelier with more flames coming off of it and whatnot. That's really all there is to say about it. And the Shield Mega Chandelure, but Ghost Fire, pretty nice typing, is going to be a good, I suppose, comfort Pokemon for people who are in withdrawal about their friendly favorite Typhlosion not making the cut. Deal with it, okay? Moving on here, the last, one of the previous starters, okay, Chesnaught. So yeah, the Gen 6 starters are finally getting their Mega Evolutions. It's kind of unspeakable that they didn't get them in the Gen 6 game itself, but now we're getting them, and this guy gets 2 shield spikes on it and a cape and all this. He changes in a big way, as you can see. He does become cooler. He gets a big beard. This is really the description of him, and it looks pretty cool. Honestly, it looks cool, but it doesn't change typing. He gets a crown. I guess that's what they depicted as a crown here for part of his description here. So Chesnaught, fighting grass, good flexible typings. We'll see how the Mega works in the game. Moving on. A fan favorite here, little fox. Delphox becomes a flying witch on a broomstick, which is kind of cool concept. Definitely cool concept. I don't like its previous design, but I don't like its previous design here. It doesn't really feel good. And this is one of the leaked descriptions that gave us the basis for the artwork to be made. It's holding its flaming wand and it's flying on a broomstick, and this is what the artist depicts, which is nice. It's kind of nice. It kind of suits it a little better as well. It's got a little bit of a witch's hat going on too. Obviously the art is quite nice, and if it does stay more faithful to its original design, the big hairy ears are a bit of a put off, and that's probably going to stick around. They kind of toned it down in the artwork here, so you're gonna have to watch out for that when that comes. Either way, the design could be pretty hit or miss, we'll see. But again, it's gonna stay its own usual typing, which I think is Fire Psychic. I don't know about that typing personally. It's okay. Either way, moving on. And Greninja, fan favorite, global favorite here. This is a good description, and it sounds like a good type that it's kind of this design that's going to get here. Becomes a frog that hangs upside down off of a mega-sized, like star ninja thing, shuriken. So that looks cool. This is a good depiction of what it's probably going to look like. This is really it. So I think it looks cool. I think it suits Greninja in a big way, and I think it's going to be a cool design in the end. So the shuriken is basically hovering in the air, and Greninja's hanging off of it, and it's got its tongue hanging out there. That's not necessarily going to be a part of it, but this is a good depiction of what it is likely to look like in the game. Interesting, very unique, very different for Greninja. So Mega Greninja is going to be sick. One of the best Pokemon out there as well. Very flexible, and having a Mega version of this for the game is going to be so cool. To do a giveaway for as well, it's going to be so popular. My God. Either way, this is another depiction of what we got from the description. I guess we'll see in the end. Mega Greninja is going to be people are going to be frothing over that. It's going to be one of my earliest giveaways because you guys are going to want that. Moving on, Pyroar, the male version. Pyroar gets an extra faceless head added on top. The design just sounds absolutely stupid. If this is really what it turns out to be like, it just looks so dumb. It just looks derp. I don't know, dude. Who would have picked this? If this is like the final design, it's just a bad design. But it is possible the leaked description was made a mistake for the artist. The artist just couldn't interpret it well or something. I hope so, but I mean the description is pretty. It is in English. It will just have a much taller mane. Oh, Jesus, no, please. I would maybe picture personally, if the design were to be better, that the mane would just become a bigger flame. It wouldn't just be the copy-paste of the same mane added on top. It would just become... the design focused on emphasizing its majestic hair. It looks like the mane will be the central feature, giving it even more real and imposing presence. So the artist could only interpret that as being the same mane twice. Personally, I hope the mane just gets emphasized, and I think that might be more likely in the final actual in-game design. The mane gets bigger, emphasized, and taller, but not just the same mane again. It just becomes more of a flame aspect going up higher. I think that's more likely what it's going to be in the end. Not this. This is a bit of a ridiculous concept. I don't think this was a good artist interpretation personally. And if it just happens to be right, goddamn Game Freak. Next up, major story relevant Mega Eternal Floette, getting a giant ass kite flower coming here. That's really all. It's just this flower just becomes exponentially huge. And what else is there to say about it? It's got a little spring going on here too. So it gets to fly more easily. That's it. But you can see our Eternal Floette here uses this little flower like an umbrella, or a little like a Mary Poppins umbrella, let's say. And then this one just becomes a bloody power glider. Okay, so that's really all there is to it. It still keeps its cuteness going on, but it's obviously going to be major story relevance in this game, and definitely available as a Pokemon that we can have for the first time. Yay! Here is Mega Malamar. So Mega Malamar's design was very simplistic in terms of its description, which has just become more elongated and skinny. That's it. Odd pick, but nice typing. for a Mega to have, Dark Psychic. So this is probably a fairly accurate representation of what it's going to have in the final game's design. So here is the description. It's basically a Malamar with Ozempic. He's on Ozempic, okay? So Ozempic is one of those weight loss drugs. So it loses weight, becomes skinnier and longer. That's really all there is to its description. A very simple design for a new Mega. Moving on, Mega Barbaracle. Okay, Barbaracle, isn't it? Either way. Fighting Rock. It's okay. It is a bit fragile. Fighting Rock can be a bit fragile, but it gets a lot more tendrils with eyes. Kind of creepy. I wonder how it will look in the game. Got a couple of spikes coming on as well. It's just got way more arms and tendrils and stuff, becoming an octopus. That's what its original picture is, as you guys probably remember. So this is just like overkill. It's like, how can we make it different without making it too different? Add more arms everywhere with eyes. I don't know. It's not a huge design that massively appeals to me in any way, but I am open-minded and waiting to see what it will really look like in the game. Mega Dragalge. Okay, so Mega Dragalge gets a couple of balls on the ends of its ears and body. It doesn't feel like it's as elongated as before. It gets a little bit of a mass going onto it and a couple more wings, or wing emphasis on it, but that's it. I guess it will become a more viable Dragon Poison Pokemon, which is good too. But Earthquake and Ground types being very strong and very common usage, still going to mean it has its weaknesses. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this one looks like, and because it's a Pokemon that's kind of been underused all its life, it might become more viable now. It'd be a nice change of scenery in battles to see this one in action. Right, moving on, Hawlucha. It was already a pretty cool concept. Maybe its design could have been better, but based off of this design, its Mega might be an improvement. So it gets much more of a tribal aspect to it, which is nice, rather than the wrestler look to it. And this art piece hopefully does it justice. Mega Hawlucha wears a black gold highlights wrestling mask with yellow feathers around its neck and gold with black highlights neck piece. The mask eyes are white and cover its eyes completely, so there are no pupils. The orange feathers on its head are longer, and crotch feathers get gold trim like the leg boots. So that's our description. And it is very much a wrestler from before, but this depicts it much more as a like a Native American sort of style type to it. Maybe like a Mexican, maybe it becomes like a Mexican wrestler style. I don't know. Hopefully it's much more in line with the Native American style. I like that. I think it'd be a good change. Oh, Zygarde. Big story one too. Zygarde looks nuts. Of course it's getting its Mega. People were like, no, there's no way it's getting its Mega. It already has 100% form. What does that mean? Of course it's getting a Mega. Here it is in its Mega glory. Its tails and tendrils become longer. It gets the Infinity Glove on its body, and it has like a big laser beam, which may be a replica of the weapon of Gen 6's story, actually integrated into its form, which would be nuts. That'd be crazy. This would be a super weapon that AZ was trying to fire off. It looks like that to me. We'll see if that's anything story related to do with that while we actually play the game, but pretty cool. Looks cool in a way. Looks in its own way. And it is, of course, going to be a big story relevant thing. As we see from the description here, it also does mention that it holds a big weapon above its head, which is related to the story. So I think this is going to tie into something, I suppose, a reimagining of what we saw in Gen 6 originally with the super weapon and all that jazz. Could be cool. Let's move on. Mega Drampa, very nice addition for the Megas, bringing in a beautiful Gen. Is this a Gen 8 Pokemon? I forget. Gen 7 or Gen 8? I think it's Gen 8. So looks cool too. Drampa is always kind of an interesting Pokemon. We didn't really get to see that much of it yet because it's fairly new, and it's making its comeback now, becoming a much more cloudy, mythical, lore-ish style dragon, which is right up our alley. Honestly, I think is pretty ideal looks nice from this artwork, but let's have a look at the description. Mega Drampa turns the white cumulus clouds, let's look at this picture here too, into storm clouds. All the while is black and grey. I think it's supposed to be grey. The 4 cloud bits on its head curve up instead of drooping down. Its eyebrows look like brackets. Has Viking horns and a long black goatee. His claws raised to strike coming out of the storm clouds raised around his body. So that's our description. I think the artwork does a good job. I think it does. So hopefully it will look sort of similar to this. Although there's a lot of ways that could go. I think this artwork might be a little off from what Pokemon is likely to design, but I think we'll still get a pretty cool design along these lines, along this aspect. Either way, I'm looking forward to Drampa. I think that might be one of the Pokemon I'll add to my team. Moving on. Mega Falinks, another Gen 8 coming in, and this is what it looks like. It becomes it becomes a bunch of kids playing on each other's shoulders, wearing a big cape to pretend it's an adult. It's kind of cool. So the unit unifies and becomes a fighting entity, as you can see here. Becomes a Spartan. Mega Falinks appears inspired by a Voltron concept. It consists of 5 Falinks joining together to form a single powerful entity. In this combined form, one arm transforms into a sword, while the other becomes a shield. Cool. So this was kind of the the general original design of it, but the artwork gave us a bit of a more comprehensive, realistic design of what it might likely become, because it's obviously very simplistic, childlike, but its feet aren't like that, as they say. So something like this, there's a lot of ways this could go too, so we'll see what will happen to this one in the end. Well, folks, that's it for every single new mega coming into the game. This, of course, excludes all of the old megas that are likely to be coming back, which are not going to have design changes. They're not going to have regional forms, but it is cool to get feasting on some ideas of what we are going to be getting in the final cut. This is it. What do you guys think? What is your favorite one? My favorite is probably going to be Feraligatr. Just design-wise, I think it looks pretty cool, but there are a few good ones in here that are very appeal to me, very big league here. So looking forward to seeing what the actual designs are in the end, and I will check your comments and see what you guys are looking forward to too. Well, that's really it. Thanks very much for watching. Feel free to have a look at my other leak videos if you're so inclined from before, and I will be on top of the information and news that we're going to be getting on this game as we go through the year, waiting painfully until we can start playing this and start doing giveaways for it too, so you can get all your new juicy megas in shiny form. Yeah. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you around the next video. Bye.